For years, Odysseus had struggled desperately to return to his homeland, Ithaca, where his beloved wife, Penelope, was still waiting for him. Now he was drifting in the open sea for days, starving and naked, with cuts and bruises all over his body. He wished he had died in the siege of Troy and achieved glory. That would have been much better than this endless ordeal. As he floated, clinging to the wood, the waves pushed him to the shore of an unknown island. As he reached the shore, he crawled into the bushes and kissed the land as a gesture of gratitude for being alive. He covered himself with some olive leaves and fell asleep. A young lady with her attendants and friends came to the shore near the river to wash clothes. Odysseus woke to their laughter and talk. He wanted to go to them and beg for help. But as he was about to get up and go, he looked at himself and saw a king who had lost his army and his dignity. He then thought of who he once was, the man who had commanded fleets of ships, the man so wise and intelligent that even the King of Kings, Agamemnon, had sought his counsel, the man who had destroyed and conquered the city of Troy was now standing behind a bush, hiding and hesitant to approach the young lady. After thinking for a while, he swallowed his pride and came out of the bush. The young lady and her attendants noticed this huge man with his beard and hair all fuzzy and unkempt, his body covered in sea salt. The man looked more like a wild man than a king. The attendants got scared by his appearance and ran away in fear. Odysseus noticed that all the other girls got scared of him and ran away and hid behind the bushes. But this young lady, she was standing, but seemed a little scared too. Being the master of judgment, Odysseus chose the right words and kept a distance while asking for help. The girl didn't know who this man was, but seeing his desperate state and his bleeding eyes, she showed him a little compassion. She told her attendants to come out of hiding and bring him fresh water, food, and clothes. As Odysseus ate, drank fresh water, and bathed, his whole appearance changed. The young lady was struck by his appearance. She even dreamt of having him as a husband. Drawn by the man before her, she quickly introduced herself to Odysseus. She said she was Nausicaa, the princess of this land and the daughter of King Alcinous and Queen Arete. Odysseus asked her to help him with a ship and a few supplies for his journey to Ithaca. Nausicaa told him he should visit the palace and seek the favor of Queen Arete, who had great influence in the kingdom. She further said not to follow her into the city, as the people would gossip about her. Odysseus thanked Princess Nausicaa and wished she would find a good husband in the future. As Nausicaa left the shore and headed toward the city, Odysseus waited for some time for her to reach the city before going to the palace. As he started making his way toward the palace, Odysseus was nervous and afraid that he might be rejected by the king of this unknown land, or worse, that the same fate which had befallen him before might await him here as well. He began praying to the goddess Athena, asking her to help him win the favor of the king of this land. As he walked, a little girl suddenly came by to fetch a jug of water. Odysseus saw her and politely asked if she could help him find the king's palace. Odysseus further told the little girl not to mock him, for he was a stranger in this land and knew nothing about it. The little girl agreed to guide him to the king's palace. As they walked, she told him this was the land of the Phaeacians. They were master sailors and unmatched in the art of building ships. She further told him not to speak to anyone in the city except Queen Arete. The little girl advised him to fall at the queen's feet, throw his arms around her knees, and ask for her help. If the queen received him kindly, he would succeed in his journey. The little girl left him at the doors of the palace. As Odysseus looked after her, she suddenly vanished from his sight. Only then did he realize that the little girl was none other than the goddess Athena, who had once again answered his prayers. When Odysseus was about to enter the palace, he saw its massive golden doors, bronze walls, and silver posts. He had never seen anything so magnificent in his life. As he entered, he saw orchards, vineyards, servants working tirelessly, and a great feast hall. Odysseus looked around the palace as though he had stepped into an entirely different world. The palace and the Phaeacians were incredibly wealthy, and their craftsmanship and architecture were unlike anything he had ever witnessed. He then went straight to the feast hall, where King Alcinous and Queen Arete were feasting with the other noblemen. He silently approached Queen Arete, fell at her feet, and threw his arms around her knees, an ancient Greek act of supplication. All the noblemen, the guards, and King Alcinous looked at Odysseus as he begged for help to return to his homeland. The entire hall fell silent at the sight of the stranger's gesture. An elderly noble named Alcinous quickly broke the silence and told the king, "It is not right for a stranger to remain on the floor." Reminded of the principles of his civilization and the traditions of his ancestors, King Alcinous quickly asked Odysseus to sit beside him and ordered one of his attendants to bring food and wine for the guest. Once Odysseus had finished eating and drinking the wine, Alcinous asked him, "Who are you, and where have you come from?" Odysseus did not reveal his identity. He simply said he was a stranger whose ship had been wrecked upon these shores and that he wished to return to his homeland, Ithaca. While Alcinous and Odysseus were talking, Queen Arete realized that the clothes the stranger was wearing were not his. She had prepared those garments for her daughter, Nausicaa. The queen then asked him, "The clothes you wear, how did you come by them?" Odysseus told them the story. He said that when he arrived on the shore, he was naked and hungry. He then heard Princess Nausicaa and her attendants nearby. He approached her and asked for help. The compassionate Nausicaa gave him these clothes and some food. Moved by the kindness of his daughter and the values deeply rooted within her to always welcome strangers and offer them help, King Alcinous quickly agreed to all of Odysseus' wishes. He ordered his men to prepare a ship, skilled sailors, treasure, and food for the journey to Ithaca, and to escort him safely to his homeland. Odysseus could hardly believe whether it was real or merely a dream. After 20 years, he could finally return home. Tears filled his eyes as he thanked the generous king. King Alcinous then ordered his men to arrange games, feasts, music, and dancing to celebrate the arrival of the stranger before sending him on his journey home. The next day, King Alcinous summoned the Phaeacian assembly. He ordered his people to prepare a new ship and select the finest rowers for the journey to Ithaca. He also asked them to ready the supplies for the voyage and prepare a great feast. He then instructed them to arrange a sacrifice to Zeus to celebrate the occasion and protect the stranger on his journey. After the sacrifice, Alcinous wanted to honor Odysseus, so he organized athletic games. He invited Odysseus to take part, but Odysseus politely refused, saying he was exhausted and only wished to return home. Seeing his unwillingness to participate in the games, a young noble named Euryalus mocked Odysseus. He said, "You don't look like an athlete, you look more like a merchant." For a Greek hero, this was a serious insult in front of the entire audience. In response to the insult, Odysseus picked up a discus and threw it farther than everyone else. His throw went so far that none of the other participants could even come close. Odysseus then declared that he could defeat anyone present in almost every contest. All of a sudden, the warrior within him awakened. After so many years, he could once again feel that warrior spirit within him. The Phaeacians were amazed by his strength and his fury. King Alcinous realized that this stranger was no ordinary man, but someone of noble birth. After the games, a great feast began, where everyone gorged themselves on food and wine. While everyone was celebrating, eating, and drinking, a blind man entered the hall. King Alcinous told Odysseus, "This blind man is Demodocus. He is one of the greatest singers among the Phaeacians, and everyone respects him." They all continued feasting as they listened to Demodocus sing. He began with a song about a quarrel between Achilles and Odysseus during the Trojan War. Everyone listened to the song with joy, except Odysseus. As he listened, he began reliving his past, and tears filled his eyes. To hide his grief, he pulled his cloak over his face and quietly wept while Demodocus continued to sing. Everyone was busy enjoying the song except King Alcinous. He noticed Odysseus hiding his face and weeping as Demodocus sang. Alcinous thought that perhaps this stranger had some connection to the song, so he asked Demodocus to sing something else. This time, Demodocus sang a humorous tale about the gods Ares and Aphrodite. It lightened the mood, and everyone enjoyed the song. Then, all of a sudden, Odysseus himself asked Demodocus to sing about the wooden horse. Demodocus then described the horse, the Greeks hiding inside it, the sack of Troy, and the destruction of the city. This time, Odysseus could no longer hold back. He broke down once again, weeping even harder than before. Alcinous noticed this once again and quickly asked the stranger to reveal himself. He said, "Tell me, who are you, stranger? What is your name? And why do you weep whenever Troy is mentioned?" Odysseus then revealed himself before everyone. "I am Odysseus, son of Laertes, known among men for every kind of craft and cunning." After revealing himself in the palace, Odysseus then becomes the narrator in Homer's Odyssey and unfolds the story one event at a time. Homer's epic Odyssey begins with Odysseus escaping Calypso's island with the help of the gods and washing ashore in Phaeacia. The story then continues until it reaches the moment when Odysseus reveals his true identity. For hours, Odysseus told them everything that had happened to him since the fall of Troy. When he finally finished telling the entire story of his journey, King Alcinous was even more determined to escort this hero of the Trojan War back to his home. He gave Odysseus treasures as gifts. The sailors and the rowers then boarded the ship along with Odysseus as they sailed towards Ithaca. In the middle of the night, Odysseus fell asleep. As he slept, the ship finally reached Ithaca. The sailors gently lifted Odysseus from the ship and placed him on the shores of Ithaca, along with the supplies and treasures, while he remained asleep. When the crew finally reached Phaeacia, Poseidon, the god of the sea, turned the ship and its crew into stone. Alcinous witnessed what had happened and realized that an old prophecy had come true. It had foretold that one day the Phaeacians would escort a stranger safely to his homeland, and by doing so would anger the god Poseidon. From that day onward, Alcinous never escorted another stranger. After that, Phaeacia faded from history. No one knows where it went or what happened to it, and to this day there is no evidence that Phaeacia ever existed. It could have been nothing more than a place imagined for the epic, or it may still lie buried beneath one of the islands of the Mediterranean.